The way he looks is... Okay, we were having debates about this during lunch, but it's like, you know koalas when they get fuzzy? Like if it's really humid and they have like very fuzzy grayish white hair? He kind of is reminiscent to that.
We need to talk about how Stephanie Soo is kind of like getting to be like a little bit weird and maybe even a little bit like anti-black, especially anti-black women. Your favorite influencer or YouTuber who does mukbang videos and then talks about gruesome deaths of women for like 40 minutes at the same time is not a journalist. Like, I'm sorry, but Stephanie Soo doing that whole just a girl eating a PB&J outside the Diddy trial was extremely tone deaf.
Okay, so I've been seeing on TikTok and on Twitter that some people are upset with Stephanie Soo because she posted a video where she was eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and twirling around after being in a courtroom with Diddy for over 8 hours, and no.
Children, full stop. It is deeply insensitive to be doing eggyo while talking about the Diddy case.
This video covers sensitive topics that may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. And as always, everything mentioned in this video is my opinion and meant for informational purposes only. If you are a Stephanie Soo fan who clicked on this video fully expecting something negative and to be a video filled with hate, attacking her, and you're already hitting the unsubscribe button, calm down. Let's not do that. We just hit 70,000. But on a real note, you guys, in this video, we'll be talking about a discussion that has already happened in the past. And to be honest, I feel like I'm a little late on the discussion. But as many of you know, the Diddy trial has just ended and it was a huge deal. It was a huge trial in the entertainment world, and many content creators like Stephanie Soo had an opportunity to be present and cover the entire trial. And somewhere amongst the mix, somehow backlash removed itself from Diddy and somehow got aimed at Stephanie Soo. And specifically, viewers were upset at some TikToks that she made, some comments she made in the TikToks, and the way she went about covering the entire trial. I'm going to introduce myself because I really think a lot of people who are watching this video do not know me. But hello, my name is Izzy and welcome to my channel. On this channel, we talk about serious topics and unserious topics, and surprisingly, I genuinely feel like this video is very unserious for what we're gonna be talking about. Not the trial, but the video itself. And I talk about anything that come across my For You page, my Instagram page, or just my tiny pod of the internet. And if you guys don't know, I have TikTok. I'm trying to post more short form content on TikTok. And I also have a Substack, which you can click on down below. And as usual, guys, I open up channel membership. So if you want to watch this video fully ad-free, uncensored, I have a membership for people who just want to watch my videos without ads and without ads only. That is available for $0.99. And then I have a membership for early uploads and no ads, and just that is up for $1.99. And then I have a membership for $4.99, which is the Izzy and Ali VIP Club, where you get behind the scenes content, exclusive polls, posting more of my thoughts on there, and they also have early uploads and their comments get priority access. So I don't know what else to say. That is the selling point. But thank you guys so much for just watching this video. Even just watching this video means the world to me. So before we start talking about Stephanie Soo, I want to talk about the center of attention in this entire conversation and what I truly believe should remain the center of attention in this entire conversation, and that is the person who is being charged and exists so this conversation can even happen. AKA, I'm talking about Sean Combs, or popularly known as P. Diddy. So P. Diddy is a well-known producer, artist, and a celebrity. So P. Diddy was facing federal charges of racketeering, trafficking, and transportation for prostitution. And some of these allegations included him drugging victims, using his power to silence victims, and filming acts to blackmail. If you guys have not been keeping up with this case, please go ahead and keep up with this case. I low-key could have gone deeper into this case because it is way more than what I said in this video. Now, first of all, was anyone a little bit confused as to why P. Diddy is so famous? Like, some of his popular songs included More Money, More Problems, It's All About the Benjamins, and I'll Be Missing You, and I Know I'll Be Missing You. There were just a lot of songs he made that I just didn't know that was his music. I just knew that the song was super popular. But for the longest time, I also knew that P. Diddy was a famous person. I just had no idea who this man was. And I also just found out that he has a net worth of $400 million. Do you guys know how much $400 million is? So that goes to show that he has a lot of money and power in the entertainment industry. He also founded the Bad Boy Entertainment record label, and one of the most notable people who are signed to his record label is the notorious Notorious B.I.G., aka Biggie, some peace to him. And that's why there's so much rumors, I guess you can say, surrounding P. Diddy and the passing of the Notorious B.I.G. and also the passing of Tupac. There's just a lot going on in that side of the entertainment industry that I'm not even gonna lie, y'all, I ain't in tune with that. Things were going smoothly for Diddy up until November 2024 when he was hit with a lawsuit by his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. And if you guys didn't know, they were in a long-term relationship of about 10 years. They've been together for almost 10 years. I'm pretty sure it's a little over 10 years.
People always say, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. So as you guys know, I'm definitely trying to make it. Everyone knows that you can't be a good entertainer without knowing how to dance.
What makes you really happy? Sleep makes me really happy. How did you get into music? I got into music because I moved to New York and I started recording a bunch of records, and I posted one of my favorite demos on MySpace. The song was called Me and You.
I started modeling when I was 14. I signed to Wilhelmina, and I did it, you know, all the way through high school, and I was traveling and everything, and actually moved to New York City with that, you know, and just started working. I knew I wanted to do something else, but just, you know, going about it, it's difficult. You know, you need money and you have to put in a lot of time. So I didn't expect it to happen so sudden. Me and You was a demo, actually, along with 3 others. Kiss Me was one of them, and never pictured it going to this point at all.
Give them who you are.
Do you, I guess long term, as you and, you know, Puff have this amazing relationship that's withstood all the rumors and all the negative energy, you know, everybody always wants to put their own terms of a relationship on other people. When is he gonna marry you? When is this gonna happen? And you know, nowadays with somebody like Puff, who's, you know, Puff's been married, I don't know how many times, once, maybe twice, I don't know. Oh, he's never been married.
No.
So obviously he's not into that. That's not his thing.
You know what's cool about Puff is that he is, and he does want to understand marriage. But we have, you know, a certain type of relationship, and it just works the way it is.
Do you believe marriage is for everybody?
No, absolutely not. My parents are still married. And Rod, how long have they been married? 35 years?
But do you believe in marriage?
I believe in marriage if it's with the right situation. But I feel like I've seen a lot of people get married and break up in the term
right after,
No, in the term that I've been in my relationship.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer, but I just read all 35 pages of the lawsuit filed by Cassandra Ventura, aka Cassie, versus Sean Combs, aka Diddy. And child, let me give you the recap. Let me start off by saying the front page of this lawsuit has a trigger warning on it. So listen, let me say to you, this video could be triggering. You've been warned. Okay, so the beginning of the lawsuit just gives some background. It talks about how the two met in late 2005, early 2006. Cassie was 19 and Diddy was 37. Shortly after, Cassie was signed to Bad Boy. And at the time, Cassie was actually in a relationship with someone else and Diddy was in a relationship with Kim Porter. But then on Cassie's 21st birthday, Diddy allegedly pulled her into the bathroom and forcibly kissed her. Cassie cried, and that was their very first physical encounter. Over time, Diddy continued to pursue her according to this lawsuit. And then in September of 2007, Diddy allegedly picked Cassie up from her apartment and gave her a pill. The suit says that Cassie didn't know what the pill was, but she took it at his request. She later learned that pill was ecstasy, allegedly. Then there's a story told from 2007 when Diddy allegedly paid a promoter to create a fake flyer for a party Cassie was hosting, but not really because it was fake. And it was done to give her a reason to go to Miami and get away from her boyfriend. During that trip, it's alleged that they did a ton of drugs, and that is when they had their very first encounter. By 2008, Diddy had allegedly introduced Cassie to opiates and would often have pills and other drugs out in the open like candy. Quote, upon information and belief, Mr. Combs has been addicted to prescription painkillers and took ecstasy frequently. The suit also alleges that Cassie's medical records were being sent directly to Diddy's email address. For instance, the suit says when Cassie was experiencing some memory loss, potentially due to excessive drug use and or head injuries caused by Diddy's alleged beatings, her MRI results were provided directly to Diddy. Somebody call HIPAA. By this point in the relationship, according to the doc, the dynamic between the two had been established and continued to be reinforced. There's the 20-year age gap between the two, Diddy's high-profile position as a music mogul in the industry, and then he's the CEO of the label that Cassie is signed to. He's also, according to this document, aggressive and demanding, requiring blind loyalty from anybody he works with, and he constantly flaunted large amounts of cash, which was quite intimidating for Cassie. He also paid for her apartments, her cars, her clothes, and vacations. And all of this combined contributed to Cassie's feeling like her entire life was under the complete control of Diddy. And then the lawsuit goes into violence and abuse. The suit tells multiple stories of violence in the relationship. From a story of Suge Knight being spotted at a LA restaurant and Diddy allegedly getting dressed, retrieving multiple weapons, and running out of his house to go to that restaurant, to Diddy allegedly demanding that Cassie hold his weapons in her purse, knowing that she was scared, all the way to Diddy allegedly violently Cassie and then exercising his money, power, and influence to hide the bruises and at times hide her until she was healed. There are a few stories told in this lawsuit that allege Cassie was kicked or stomped, and even with staff or security witnessing the violence, no one would say anything or challenge Diddy. The lawsuit then goes into alleged trafficking. It claims that a few years into their relationship, there was an arrangement referred to as freak off or FO, in which male sex workers were hired for Cassie to engage in acts with, and Diddy would watch. These FOs would take place at hotels all around the country, which is where the trafficking part comes in, and heavy amounts of drugs and other things were always supplied. Diddy would allegedly give instructions during these FOs and record them. And even when Cassie would delete the footage, Diddy would tell her he could always recover the footage regardless if she deleted them. At one point, the lawsuit says that Diddy allegedly made Cassie watch one of the FOs that she thought she deleted while they were on a flight. And even during the FOs, according to the suit, Cassie would still be physically in front of the guests and security. A hotel allegedly caught one of the violent incidents on camera, but according to the suit, Diddy paid $50,000 for the damages done to the hotel and for the footage. There's a story in these docs that allege that on Cassie's 29th birthday, Diddy held one of Cassie's friends over the balcony of a hotel like a child. In 2011, Cassie developed a relationship with Kid Cudi while things between her and Diddy were not so great. And the suit claims that Diddy allegedly still called Cassie over for an FO. And while she was over, he went through her phone and found some exchanges between her and Kid Cudi. He allegedly placed a manual corkscrew between his fingers and then lunged at her. Cassie leaves, she stays with Kid Cudi, she comes back, she's met with more violence, she eventually stays with her mom, they start working things out. And then in February of 2012, during Paris Fashion Week, Diddy allegedly told Cassie he was going to blow up Kid Cudi's car, and he wanted Kid Cudi and his friends home when it happened, according to this doc and Kid Cudi. Around that time, Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway. In September of 2018, Diddy and Cassie allegedly met up for what Cassie thought was going to be a breakup dinner of sorts. Following the dinner, the two went back to Cassie's apartment, which was paid for by Diddy, and while there, Cassie claims that Diddy her while she told him to stop and tried to push him away. The suit says that the birth of Cassie's children has given her a new lease on life and given her purpose in her life, but that she has struggled with addiction to drugs and alcohol that were all established and fueled by Diddy. She has had, quote, difficulty sleeping, eating, and her relationship with her family has suffered. She's even had thoughts of unaliving herself. She says that she is rebuilding her life and her career, and she is now ready to, quote, confront her abuser and hold him and those who enabled his accountable for their actions. So she's suing for sex trafficking, human trafficking, sexual battery, sexual assault, sexual harassment, hostile work environment, and more. Diddy, through his attorneys, deny all of the allegations and says he is being extorted. Quote, for the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Ms. Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about the relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Despite withdrawing her initial threat, Ms. Ventura has now resorted to filing a lawsuit riddled with baseless and outrageous lies, aiming to tarnish Mr. Combs' reputation and seeking a payday. Okay.
So for her to file a lawsuit against her ex-boyfriend that she's been with, that says a lot. And I remember when the lawsuit first became public and people were just finding out about it, there were a lot of people saying that she's just doing this for money, she just wants money and revenge, she's being the toxic, bitter ex.
Now look at Puff. Puff was on his what they call victory lap, if you will. Just got celebrated from MTV, just got the key to New York City, changed the love, was doing so good, he gave people made publishing back. He was doing everything to change his reputation. But it was one thing I think the thing that brought him down was Carisha.
What do you mean?
Hey, bro.
Explain.
Don't nobody piss your ex off more than you turning up the next. Everything he promised for Cassie, he gave to Carisha. He gave her a show. He gave her a deal. When she's performing, she ain't signed to him. That nigga showing up to her shows like this, his artist, like supporting her. And if you Cassie, you looking like, nigga, I spent 13 years with you begging you to give me that. And you giving it to this bitch. And now you making me penny pitch. Now I'm gonna sue your ass.
Girl, what the f is you talking about?
When the details of this lawsuit was way too gruesome for myself to just sit here and think, oh, she wants money. She was accusing him of sex trafficking, rape, and physical abuse. And personally, I don't think that's anything to just throw around, especially in a lawsuit where if this is brought to court, a lot of the tea will be spilled. Again, this lawsuit was filed in November 2023, and by the very next day, they arrived at a settlement. That lawsuit alone opened the doors to a bunch of other lawsuits. Like, he received lawsuits from many other people alleging the same thing. Again, a lot of people really believe Cassie only did this for money, but a lot of people shut their mouths when a surveillance video from the Intercontinental Hotel revealed P. Diddy, Sean Combs, physically assaulting his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura.
New surveillance footage obtained exclusively by CNN appears to corroborate some of the allegations of abuse against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The video, captured on multiple cameras, shows Combs assaulting his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hallway at a Los Angeles hotel in March 2016. A lawsuit filed by Ventura in November last year and settled the next day referenced actions that seem to match those seen in this video. There is no audio.
Needless to say, people had to eat their words because it's like, okay, if she's right about that part, what about all the other parts? And then for them to have lawsuits coming out alleging the same thing, that he was physically abusive, he sexually assaulted them, sex trafficked them, and many of these lawsuits were coming from past partners. I think that speaks volumes as to the type of person, I'm sorry, the type of person he can be perceived as, and I can't even say too much because they out here throwing lawsuits left and right, okay? After this video of him being violent with Cassie was leaked online, he made a video on Instagram claiming he's so sorry, he was in a bad state of mind, no excuse for what he's did.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. I had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry.
When I saw that video, it felt like he was treating it as another influencer apology video rather than him, I don't know, almost committing a crime. I truly feel like Cassie's lawsuit, paired with that surveillance footage from the hotel, was what started the investigation that later came towards P. Diddy. In March 2024, the Department of Homeland Security raided all of Diddy's houses, Florida, California, and New York. They found defaced guns and a bunch of illegal substances. On the guns that he had, the serial numbers were scratched off and removed, so these guns couldn't be traced if they were used in, let's say, a crime scene. Now, even though the whole raiding situation happened in March 2024, Diddy wasn't arrested until September 2024. And that's when Diddy was being charged with sex trafficking and racketeering. P. Diddy was found not guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking, but he was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation for prostitution. And I might be saying it not in the best legal terms, but your girl is not a law school student, okay? And this verdict was delivered in July 2025, but before the verdict was even delivered, y'all, we came to find out that multiple content creators had access to the courtroom. Luckily, they had enough money to even fly to New York. Sometimes it was like, if I lived in New York, would I go to the courtroom? Because the case is open to the public, y'all. Anyone could have just gone there and show up. Maybe I would have, because I'm nosy. Amongst these creators, one of them had access to the press team, and this creator is known as Stephanie Soo. Who is Stephanie Soo? Again, I truly feel like half of you guys watching this know who Stephanie Soo is. Hello, Stephanie. Subscribe if you're here. So Stephanie Soo is a YouTuber / true crime podcaster, and she has millions of followers across all of her platforms. On her main channel, Stephanie Soo, she has 4.8 million subscribers, and on her podcast / true crime YouTube channel, she has 5 million subscribers, and that is her Rotten Mango channel, which most people know her from. But if you were there from the old days, you would know that Stephanie Soo gained popularity due to her mukbang / true crime storytelling videos. Since then, these videos have been taken down because a lot of people question the ethics of sharing true crime stories and also eating and trying to make it seem like a lighthearted thing. I think those criticisms were fair, and I think people have the right to be like, yeah, you're talking about how someone got chopped up into pieces while also eating
hot ramen noodles and
also slurping on buttered corn. Yeah, that wouldn't leave such a great feeling in my mouth either. I only knew her through that content. I didn't even watch that type of content. You guys know I have misophonia. I hate the sound of chewing, slurping, all of that stuff, all that mouth noise. I can't really stand it. So I didn't really watch that content, but I remember seeing her pop up on my explore page or my recommendation page over and over and over again because mukbangs were super popular during that time. Now, because Stephanie received a lot of backlash for her giving these gruesome stories and also eating while talking about the stories, she decided to take down the videos, and up till now you can't really find much of these videos on the internet. And honestly, I'ma just
clock it.
You waited till we left. Clock it.
Thank you for listening to the criticism, taking down the videos, and actually showing that you care about what people have to say on your channel. I think that was one of the most mature things to do because those videos were gathering millions of views. And for her to make the huge decision to take down the videos because of how crazy they were, I think that's a massive sign that she has some sort of integrity and has enough integrity to listen to the critics and not just take it as, hey, I love her content, okay? So the fact that I'm even making this video right now, it's kind of weird. So Stephanie has transformed her content from mukbang / true crime storytelling to more of a deep dive storytelling case with more emotion to it. And I tell y'all, this girl goes into detail about every single thing. And I think that's what sets her apart from everybody else, is how well she's able to put her words together and help you visualize every single thing she's talking about without putting a single picture on the screen. It's a talent that not much people have. Even I think myself, I don't have that much of a talent. I think I'm good at ranting, but I'm not good at describing down to a T what I'm talking about. And the reason why I'm telling y'all this is because when you go online and you see why she's receiving backlash about what we're going to talk about today, people continuously bring up this part of her life, this part of her content creator journey, when she used to have mukbang while also sharing her true crime stories. And to me, I feel like that's just wrong, but I'm not going to get into how I feel right now. Let's move on to why people are upset at Stephanie Soo. So as mentioned before, Stephanie Soo was granted access to the press, and that is because of her huge audience that she has on social media. She also has her podcast, which is on Apple and Spotify, and it has thousands of monthly listeners. She has her TikTok, which has millions of followers. Stephanie does not only work by herself. Stephanie is not the one who's searching up these videos, putting it together, not fact checking. Stephanie has show notes linked at the bottom of all of her videos in her description. She works with massive organizations to give back to the community. She works with researchers on every single one of her videos to make sure she has the correct information. So I think she puts a lot of effort into her videos. I think she's very credible in the true crime space of the internet, and I think she has a massive audience who would be very interested in this case. And not only that, I believe this case would reach people who had no idea why everyone was talking about Sean Combs / P. Diddy. I think this was a huge move, and I think it was also a smart move for whoever granted her access to the press to at least get the news across on what was going on and why we should all care. So everyone found out that Stephanie was granted access to the press after she posted a video saying, I spent 8 hours in court with P. Diddy. That video got recommended to me, and when I tell you I clicked that video so fast, I was like, what you mean you spent 8 hours in a room with P. Diddy? And in this video, she shares all the details of her first few days in court. She shares it as if it's a story. She gives every single detail. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because in this particular case, you're not allowed to bring cameras. You're not allowed to take pictures. You're not allowed to film in the courtroom. You're not allowed to do any of that. So the fact that Stephanie was in there with her small team of researchers that she hired to be there with her, they were taking notes, and she was able to describe everything in such great detail. I think that this was awesome. She described everything in such great detail that it makes you feel like she was the camera in the room. So while Stephanie was posting her usual hour-long YouTube videos on this case, she was also sharing TikToks and YouTube shorts daily on the situation. And this is where things kind of went south. So Stephanie decided to share a TikTok of herself saying what it was like to see P. Diddy for the first time and what he looks like in her opinion.
I just spent 8 hours in a room with Diddy. This is my first time leaving the house in 3 months, and I'm at a federal courthouse in New York City. This is day 2 of jury selection for Diddy's trial. And it was, okay, listen, there's no video cameras allowed. There's nothing. It's not being live streamed, and there's only 3 rows of press that were allowed inside. Listen, the sketch artists are so good, but something about seeing him in person in the same room was so intense. He would turn around and make eye contact with like each members of the press and just like everyone in the courthouse. And the way that we can describe the way he looks, because there's no pictures allowed, so we don't really know, but the way he looks is, okay, we were having debates about this during lunch, but it's like, you know, koalas when they get fuzzy, like if it's really humid and they have like very fuzzy grayish white hair, he kind of is reminiscent to that. But let me tell you, the way he looks at every single person in that courtroom is the most intense thing ever. I feel like he's challenging people to break eye contact first. I almost peed myself. But I'm gonna go through all of the jury selection details in maybe another TikTok, maybe in a YouTube video. Follow Rotten Mango on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube. But starting Monday, once the actual trial starts, once the opening statements start, I'm gonna be in there every single day and I'm going to give you all the details every single day.
So let us take note of that koala comment, because that is what had the internet in an uproar. And it's not just the koala comment. You know, the koala comment was like the gasoline to the soon-to-be fire. So Stephanie Soo posted a TikTok with the caption, "Just a girl eating her mushy PB&J outside the federal courthouse after spending 8 hours in the same room as Diddy, taking 79 pages of notes because cameras aren't allowed in the courtroom, and I know you need to know what's happening." And if you guys don't know, this is actually quite a trend on TikTok where people would be like, "Oh, just a girl, just completed open heart surgery and my patient almost died, but I saved their life." Here is my honest opinion on this entire situation. I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as I can, even though that's quite hard to do because I enjoy Stephanie's content and I can see from both perspectives on why she might have posted this and why people were upset about this. So these two TikToks put together made people very upset with Stephanie. The reason why they were upset with Stephanie is because she described Diddy as a koala. I'm not even gonna lie, y'all, because of this, I actually took a good look at koalas and I was like, damn, they all look like soft, plushy grandpas. I don't really look at pictures of animals like that unless it's a cat or a dog. Anyways, editing Izzy here to get us back on track. But basically, a lot of people were upset about these TikToks because people felt like Stephanie Soo was really downplaying what was going on. And for how serious this case was, she was basically treating it as if it was content and content only. Now, I have my own opinions on that, which we'll get to later on in this video. But I'm just gonna show y'all some of the things that people were saying from TikTok and mainly Twitter. I really think it was Twitter that got the pump the gas on the situation. This made Stephanie so anti-black for referring to Diddy as a koala because she's downplaying what's going on because the victims are mainly black women. She's humanizing Diddy. She's trying to place the image of a cute animal with this terrible person. She's trying to get people to feel sorry for Diddy and make him think that he's not as bad as the media paint him out to be. This was one of the TikToks I saw of someone expressing why they aren't happy with what Stephanie Soo was saying.
We need to talk about how Stephanie Soo is kind of like getting to be like a little bit weird and maybe even a little bit like anti-black, especially anti-black women, in the way that she is covering the Diddy trial right now. On her videos, like there was one where she's like spinning around outside like just a girl eating a PB&J like while hearing like all these horrific things that Diddy did. And Diddy did some pretty horrific things. And I think that just speaks to the larger problem of how society does not care when abuse is done towards specifically black women. This is a very serious trial. There are people who were abused, people who were R-worded, like SA'd. This trial has some of the deepest, darkest, most horrific parts of people's life that are like being put on display. And I think it's weird for her to go outside of the courtroom and like spin around and I'm just a girl and like do all these little memes about something that traumatized and actually probably brought to the end of a couple of people's lives. And this is not the first time that I've seen like something weird from Stephanie Soo. I think it's weird that she runs a true crime. I honestly, as someone who I guess would say like I think crime and like forensics are interesting just maybe from like a medical standpoint, like being a medical student, like I like to hear about like the forensics of it, but to hear the like gruesome details about like what was done to the victims, I find it to be incredibly weird that people really lean into that type of that genre of, you know, podcasts or YouTube videos or whatever. And I think Stephanie Soo specifically, she runs a podcast called The Rotten Mango. She sits down, she eats mukbang, she's kind of like giggling, laughing along, like I can't even believe this is real, like true crime. And she's like describing like horrific crimes, like ways that people are being unalived horrifically, ways that people are being SA'd horrifically. And she's doing it in the midst of like, you know, doing ads for like diapers or doing ads for like laundry detergent. And it's just very weird, the commodification of the literal loss of life and trauma that some of these victims go through. And I also think it's weird that she even has access to this case. Like I know that she's a podcaster, but as far as I've checked her credentials, like she's not a real journalist. So like if you're not a real journalist, Why are they letting her in the courtroom? And it's just really disheartening, especially as a woman of color or as a Black woman, knowing that most of Diddy's victims were like Black women, Black men. For her to just kind of like make light of the situation is very weird. It's very off-putting. It's very strange. And the fact that that video has like 3 million likes, it's very strange that a lot of y'all also don't seem to care about what happens to like Black women, not just Black women, Black children.
As much as I disagreed with what this TikToker was saying, she spilled a lot of truth in this situation. People don't take cases like this that seriously if it's mainly Black women involved. People don't take cases about women in general seriously if it's some powerful man being accused. People don't take women seriously when they speak up against a powerful person because, oh, she's just after the money. And also, there are a lot of people who are using this as a chance to make content and using it to make some money off of it. But the truth is, whether we like it or not, the lawyers are getting paid, the judges are getting paid, the press team is getting paid, the influencers and content creators that are outside who are speaking up about this case is getting paid, and most likely this TikToker herself who made the video is probably getting paid to speak up about it. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I've noticed a pattern where people are quick to call out content creators for having ads in their videos or including sponsorships in their videos, but people do not give the same energy to traditional forms of media like streaming services or cable TV, or having to pay to go watch a movie, or even having to pay for a magazine or newspaper to get the latest information on what's going on. But when it comes to content creators who are basically independent people, I guess you can say even independent business owners, people take advertisements way more personally than they would when it comes to the forms of media that we're used to consuming. Like if you had cable TV and you were watching a documentary on a serial killer, people would not really care about the ads that come in between. As a matter of fact, we pay to go watch documentaries of the most heinous people in history, and people don't really complain about paying. There's no one out there saying that this should be free or the TV shouldn't have ads, because we all know whether it's a big corporation or an independent working behind this, these people have to be compensated for their work in order to keep their operations running. This is a comment I've seen multiple people make, not only while researching this video. When it comes to content creators in general, people are always like, oh, why do you have this ad? Why do you have that ad? And yes, I might feel a little personal about this because I've received comments like that myself. And I understand how annoying it can be to watch your favorite content creator but be bombarded by ads. But even I have to remind myself that, hey, if I want this person to keep posting or like keep editing and like use probably days and months of their time to produce one single video, then I have to put up with this. You get what I'm saying? Unless there's some other way where content creators or people online could get paid without interrupting their viewers' time. Until then, I'ma just have to sit it out. Another thing, people, especially in this digital age, people are very quick to throw around the word anti-black. In my opinion, I think this was a classic example of it. No, this does not make you anti-black for describing his hair as gray as a koala. I don't think that would make someone simply anti-black for describing P. Diddy out of all people as a koala. Even though I disagree with this creator considering Stephanie Soo anti-black or anti-black. How do you guys say anti? Is it anti or anti? I'd be saying both. And not just her, a lot of criticism online was trying to say that Stephanie Soo is racist / anti-black because of her TikToks, because she's not taking the trial seriously because black women are the center of this entire trial. Even though I disagree with the criticism on that part, I will agree that people generally do not take the suffering of black women seriously. Most of the memes that I see on my side of the internet is usually the suffering of another black person or a black woman, and I noticed that it's mainly black women. I saw it play out on real time when I watched the new movie called Straw on Netflix. Spoiler y'all, I'm gonna leak some details from the movie, so if you haven't watched it yet and you plan to watch it, just skip ahead this part. So the movie Straw is about a black woman who went into deep psychosis after losing her child the day before, but she didn't realize she was in a deep psychosis until the very end of the movie. And while she was in this completely altered mental state, this woman got evicted from her apartment, lost her job. She got arrested in the end because people thought she was robbing a bank and she had a BOMB, but she did not have a BOMB. She had her child science project. Just after I finished watching the movie, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so terrible. Like, this was so sad. Like, this woman went through the absolute worst moment of her life in a matter of 24 hours. I'm here thinking like, damn, I kind of like this movie for a Tyler Perry movie, you get what I'm saying? Only for me to get on social media the very next day and see that people have already turned the suffering of a black woman into a meme.
Can't help me. Nobody ever helped me. Do it all myself. Everything I do it myself.
You can't make this up. You can't make this. Do I think it was a great analogy? No, I don't think it was a great analogy. Do I think it was an appropriate analogy? Yes, because when I actually looked at a picture of a koala and then I looked back at sketches of P. Diddy in this entire trial, I was like, damn, she kind of right. He grand in here. And if y'all know anything about P. Diddy, this man was never caught with a single lick of gray hair. This man had me fooled thinking he can't have no gray. His whole time, he probably had the best of the best barber, the best of the best hairdresser, and the best of the best box black dye.
You may not like what I was saying, but you cannot say I wasn't funny.
And hey, it's normal. A lot of people use black hair dye in their gray and then they cover up their hair. But to see how when you have your most powerful tools taken away from you to be locked up and you have to face the consequences of your actions, and to see how this person can just shift and change in a matter of a few months, and it's almost like stripping him from his power in some sense, I think the analogy was necessary. I might have not liked it 100%. You might not have liked it 100%. But when I saw the picture of the koala in the sketches, I was like, damn, she kind of right. I can see why some people were simply not happy with that comment and why some people felt like she was trying to make this seem not as serious as it should be, but I don't think that was her intentions at all. I think it was a bad analogy, but a necessary analogy, but not the greatest analogy, because you don't want to picture Allie while you're thinking of Jeffrey Dahmer. You hear me? Like, my cute son will not be in comparison with that disgusting, vile creature. So the fact that Stephanie was let into the press team had many people questioning her credentials and her ability to even cover this trial.
Your favorite influencer or YouTuber who does mukbang videos and then talks about gruesome deaths of women for like 40 minutes at the same time is not a journalist. Like, I'm sorry, but Stephanie Soo doing that whole just a girl eating a PB&J outside the Diddy trial was extremely tone deaf. Like, there has to be ethics and morals when it comes to journalism, and there's a reason you don't see actual reporters and journalists doing like that, because they understand that this is a sensitive topic.
People were saying she treated it like it was just some sort of quirky content that she was so excited to share, which, to be fair, I can see why people would have felt that way. I can see why that would leave a sour taste in your mouth, especially if you can relate very closely to a case as serious as this. But do I think that's what she intended on doing? No, I think she was just being a content creator. This is where content creator brain comes in, because I tend to be a victim of content creator brain sometimes, and I have to hold myself back from saying things or taking some clips out, because I'm like, wait, this is real people. At the same time, people might enjoy this if I say it like this, or people might enjoy this if I insert this in it, but I'm like, wait, no, that's a legitimate person. Content creation plus real life, there's always going to be some murky feeling about it. There are people who just absolutely hate true crime because they feel like victim stories should not be used in content at all. It should not be seen as entertainment, and why would anyone want to hear this? Whereas there are other people who view this as entertainment, just like some people like to watch scary movies where people are getting killed and chopped up and there's blood all over the place. But I'm saying this to say that there are people who just hate content that has to do with real life, and there are people who love content that has to do with real life events, and that is okay. There is always going to be true crime content, and it does not stop at YouTubers. The OG true crime content came from cable television, and there probably have people who were against that even, but there's really nothing we can do to stop it. And one person's I don't like this is not going to be the end all for a particular category. Personally, I don't consume true content as much as I used to, but I think it can help a lot of people out there to raise awareness, especially women and men, but especially women. It can help to raise awareness on certain cases, whether it be domestic violence, whether it be sexual assault, whether it be overall safety and what to do and what not to do in certain situations. I truly believe it can be taken in a good way and it can be taken in a bad way, and there should be a way of delivering these things because of how sensitive these topics are. So yes, I do think her saying that she's just the girl outside the case was a little bit questionable, and I can see why people felt some type of way about it, but at the end of the day, she is a content creator. I don't know if you guys have ever spoke with someone who worked in a serious profession like a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, a surgeon, firefighter, police officer. Anyone who has to work in these fields where they have to see gruesome stuff or deal with gruesome stories, you would know that they tell the darkest jokes of all time. And I personally feel like it's that way because human beings need a way to cope with things. Just because someone is a criminal defense lawyer and they have to work with criminals all the time does not mean they're gonna be serious all the time. You get what I'm saying? It's unfair to them, it's unfair to everyone else. Humans have a right to be human. You have a right to be silly, you have a right to not take things serious all the time, and you have a right to want to spread a little dark joke here and there, especially if you are the person who have to take in all this dark information all the time. And from my own personal experience, these type of people tend to say things worse than just the girl in the P. Diddy trial, okay? Hearing all these victim stories in real time and having to recount this information to share it on social media. I think she has a right to post her Just a Girl TikTok and twirl around and just not take it as seriously as she's going to have to anyways in her YouTube video. I can see it from the social media content creation side of things, and I can also see it from the this case is quite serious type of situation. But do I genuinely think this is enough for me to call Stephanie Soo a bad person, terrible person? She don't deserve her platform, she don't deserve to be in that courtroom, she's not taking it serious at all. Hell no. Another thing that a lot of people were questioning was, is Stephanie Soo even a journalist? Thank you to this article that I found right here on the screen, name right here because I cannot remember it right now. But this article confirmed that Stephanie is not actually a journalist. This article led me to Stephanie Soo's Rotten Mangoes webpage, where she explains that she works with a team of researchers. On her webpage, in her About section, she says she does not conduct her own investigations, she don't conduct her own research, she worked with the team of researchers, and she might even get some things wrong, so what she say should be taken lightly, in other words. But this led me to ask you guys a few questions on my members only side of my YouTube channel and my Instagram. So I asked you guys over on the Izzy and Ali VIP club, can a social media influencer be considered a journalist? 25% said yes if they report facts, and then 75% said only if they follow journalistic ethics. 0% said no, influencers aren't journalists, and 0% said depend on the content. And then I also asked you guys over on Instagram, I asked you guys, should influencers be held to the same ethical standards as journalists when covering serious topics? 43% of you guys said yes 100%, 48% said only if they claim to be reporting, 3% said no, they're entertainers, 6% said not sure. And I was actually surprised at how many of you considered me a journalist, which is hilarious. I have mixed feelings about this actually. I believe you can't equate an influencer who is sharing things that they find online or doing research themselves to someone who holds a bachelor's or master's degree in journalism, who spent 10 plus years in the journalism field working with big companies and making sure they're fact checking everything. They have all these skills. They have a massive resume to prove that, hey, I'm quite literally educated, skilled, and trained journalist, compared to an influencer who's only been posting YouTube videos for about 5 months, and they're working with other people to do all of that work for them and has not even done like something as simple as a course in journalism. I don't think they can be the same thing, but I do think they can complete the similar goal, if that makes sense. Am I making sense, y'all? I do think an influencer can deliver the same information as a journalist, but I don't think an influencer has the same qualifications and should be trusted more than a legitimate journalist. Because at the end of the day, journalism is a set industry and you have ethical guidelines that you must follow. There's years of experience that a lot of people in professional fields can't get back. Like, you dedicate a certain point of your life to making sure you can get accurate information across audiences. Now, in this day and age, influencers have almost the same amount of power and can do the same thing as journalists. They can get their information across to a wide variety of audiences. Like, even what I'm doing right now, some people consider that journalism. I had to research, I had to fact check. Sometimes I'm not getting things all the time, and that's why I'm like, let's stick to content creation, baby. And I also have an audience who is here to listen to what I say, and an audience who trusts what I say, and an audience who I interact with. Let me know more of your thoughts in the comment section. I love this type of topic because it would be cute to call myself a journalist, like put the suit and tie on me. Let's keep it at content creator / YouTuber. And if you guys want to participate in more of these polls, as usual, you can follow my Instagram, Izzy Faye, or you can join the Izzy and Ali Club, where we have exclusive polls for members and members only of this Izzy and Ali VIP Club. And you can go ahead and join that membership only if you have the little bit of funds too. If you don't have the money, don't even listen. If you don't have the money right now, don't go put yourself in debt because of me, okay? Don't do that.
Don't do that, y'all. I'm so serious.
But what are my final thoughts in this entire situation? My final take on this situation is, I don't think she deserved the amount of hate that was being thrown at her. I definitely don't think it was serious to the point where people were calling her all types of names in the book. People are allowed to be lighthearted in dark situations, especially if the lightheartedness is not even attacking the victims in this case. But again, I do see why people would feel some type of way, especially if they have close relations to things such as sexual assault, sex trafficking, or if you have been in an environment like that before. People are allowed to have their own opinions on it, but where I think the line is crossed is when you get to name calling, straight up disrespecting the person, and just being nasty overall towards a person who you do not know. Let me emphasize, y'all do not know this person. And I think this whole situation made people question, can content creators cover trials as serious as this without crossing the line of content in real life situations? I think it could be done, but I think no matter what you do as a content creator who is dabbling into situations involving real life and like serious cases, there would always be one person who's begging you not to do anything and just stop and stay silent because they don't like it and they don't want you to cover it and they want the whole space to disappear. You can't please everyone, and that is okay. But thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much to anyone who stuck around this long, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as usual, thank you so much to the Izzy and Ali VIP Club members. Thank you to the Organized Chaos Diaries, KC, Faye, Foodie, The Crafty Dro, and Cher. Thank you to all the members of the Izzy and Ali VIP Club. As usual, you guys don't have to, but you are. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. And thank you to anyone who are just in the Just Ads and early uploads. I appreciate every single one of you, and even the people who are just watching this video for free. Don't feel pressure, don't feel forced. This is all up to you, and just you sitting here, greatly appreciated. But let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Let me know if y'all like Izzy, maybe you should take this a little bit more seriously, or let me know if you guys are like, yeah, it was really not that deep. But let me know what y'all think. I want to know every single part of your thoughts, okay? I want to infiltrate your brain. I want to push my hand in your cranium and girl, what the fuck is you talking about? But thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video and if you learned something from this video. And I will see you guys in the next one. I think myself, I don't have that much of a talent. I think I'm good at ranting, but I'm not good at describing down to a T what I'm talking about. Like, I can't tell y'all the texture of the shirt and the scent of my room. There's no scent. But am I surprised? Twitter is like the bottom feeder of social media. When I say bottom feeder, I mean like Twitter is like the lowest of the low. Y'all know how there's certain animals that eat, you know, the literal crap of other animals because that's what they need to survive. They have to eat the scraps and the barrels. Twitter is that animal, and that is even an offense to these animals because they're just doing what they're biologically programmed to do. Twitter, these people are choosing this. This is a choice for a lot of people to go on Twitter and be nasty, and that's why I don't be on Twitter like that. Like, I only go on Twitter to fight YouTube, okay? For me to call an influencer a journalist simply because they're sharing true crime stories online, it's like me calling someone a paramedic simply because they put a bandage over your cut. You get what I'm saying? And this person has never gone to paramedic school. That makes no sense. I always advise everybody, let's go touch some grass together. I always try to go out and get some sun. You know, remind myself that there's something bigger than this square block in my hands. Like, I don't want to sit down and like let my butt marinate on this chair for too long. Like, just remind myself that it's always bigger than me. Life is bigger than me. There's the sun. There's people from different walks of life. Life is beautiful if you let it be. And I will not let Stephanie Soo, say it with me, I will not let Stephanie Soo be the reason I crash out today, okay?